ladies and gentlemen, we don't cover this youngin, this little whippersnapper that often because, quite frankly, he's a stunning bore. But there's an area of the internet where that's a thing. His name is Tim Pool, and there he is, and he's got a uniform that he wears to work, just like a Burger King manager, always with the hat, always blackjack. If he doesn't wear it, fans get very upset. They don't know how to deal. It's like the group of them that on our side. Every time I put my hair in a ponytail, they think I've cut it. That kind of stuff. I'm sure. I just roll with it. I just go, no, see, it's here. It's still here. It's just whatever. But his fan base, you can't mess around with those folks. They will panic. If he goes a day without the beanie, its career is over. That's branding. That's like Woody Allen losing his glasses, or Matt Gaetz not having underage nude girls on his phone. You know what I mean? There's things you do that are on brand and you stay there. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. You can support the show via patreon.com/housemarks, Venmoing and Snapchatting and all that kind of stuff that happens over there. And then, of course, just like and subscribe. We're getting there. We're building up our numbers. We're just doing that. Anyway, so yes, it's like Hall losing his oats. It's like the breakup of Wham. That's what would happen if Tim Pool ever. Well, I know he can't shave his beard because it'll look like Charlie Brown. So that's going to stay forever. We'll just count on that. And then the beanie, obviously, like I said, he's probably got an endorsement from Beanie Co. right now. It's just he can't do it. I'm calling him out. There you go. Sorry that I'm throwing down the gauntlet. Tim Pool cannot do a show without the beanie on. Can't do it. Never will. Never can. Or the show's over. If you want to know when he's going to retire, that's when it's going to happen. He's like, fuck this. You know what I mean? He's going to snatch his own weave, as it were. Hello, Scotland. How are you? Good to have you. Come to how. So, yes, I got to sing Southern Man. All right. So, this is, I've been trying to figure out, we have Bongholio. We have Greg Kelly, the most miserable man on the internet. We have our little, kind of phrases or nicknames that sum up who these folks are as a shorthand for longtime watchers. And I was, Tim Pool, we've seen him a couple times, and I've seen his other stuff when he's had other people on and whatever. He just had Cenk Uygur on. That was a fucking train wreck for both of them. It's just hilarious. By the way, in case you're keeping score, on one half of the internet, Tim Pool calmly asserted that Cenk had no facts. And on the other side, Cenk cucked Tim Pool. Either way, they both destroyed each other, and none of you know this because it mattered not in the great scheme of life. So, anyways, here we are with Tim Pool, and I have decided, so shall it be, so let it be written, so let it be done, that Tim Pool will forever be known, because of all the clips I've seen, as a man who was born to be butthurt. Born to be butthurt. It seems like everything, like that's how he absorbs the world. The world is out to get Tim Pool's ass. Tim Pool is born to be butthurt. It's the only way I can describe it, because every fucking thing he says is like the whole fucking world is trying to, boll weevil its way up his chocolate whiz wang and lay eggs, and he's just like, nope, all the time. All right. So, anyways, you'll see what I mean, because I have no doubt this will be a similar situation. Trump judge donated to stop Trump and refuses to recuse Trump trial is rigged. Rigged. It's rigged. The whole thing is rigged against him. Oh my God. Hold on. I'm not doing that right. Hold on. Give me 1 second. It's more like, but leave Tim Pool alone. It's not fair. Okay, it's not fair. It's just not. Tell him, Tim. Go for it, buddy. It's all right. Fire it up. Fire it up.
Like we're heading in this direction. I don't know what the result.
Oh, hold on a second. Why are my headphones not on? It's so sad. I don't need to hear it through the frick. That's crazy pants. No, stop it. Here we go.
Results of the Trump lawsuit in Colorado is going to be. But already we are getting shocking information. The judge in the case donated
shocking
to a group to remove Republicans who supported Trump on January 6th.
All right. So here's the premise. The fix is in because the judge donated to a group that was trying to get rid of Republicans who supported the Jan 6 insurrection. Now, it is Tim that is attaching Trump to the insurrection at this point. Because that's what he's insisting. If you went after Republicans that were participants in it, obviously Trump was one of them. But then I suppose he's going to make the case that because they're trying to remove him with the 14th Amendment and he's not involved in the insurrection. But according to Tim, he is.
Let me stress, the judge financially provided resources.
Oh my God. Pens, papers, Twinkies, a nice cheese plate.
Two groups to
multiple groups.
Remove Republicans who supported Donald Trump.
Or supported the insurrection, the actual attack on the Capitol. Now, I thought that Trump said walk down there peacefully and patriotically. I mean, there were obviously some Republicans that were inside there, calling in exactly where Nancy Pelosi was, not, talking about where the vice president was, that kind of shit. Like those people, maybe he was focused on those people, and maybe Donald Trump was an innocent bystander because all he said was walk down there peacefully and patriotically. Of course, he said, if you're not strong and fight to take our country back, when you get there, if Mike Pence doesn't do what he's supposed to, then because he's scared of all you fuckers out there, you might have to build a gallows. So can somebody go to Home Depot? All right.
Now she is presiding over a case to remove Donald Trump from the ballot.
Well, and she must feel so lucky that he participated in the insurrection on January 6th. Otherwise, she wouldn't have any ammo whatsoever.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Minnesota's next.
See what I mean though about the whole born to be butthurt? Also, Tim is one of these people who views himself as a moderating voice.
Michigan is next. And I wonder.
Well, which is it? Hold on.
Oh, boy. Minnesota's next. Michigan is next.
Michigan is next after Minnesota, or did you just get mixed up with two M words? It's okay. You know what? You should go. I think Trump is in Sioux Falls right now. You should drive there immediately.
And I wonder how this will play out. But if you've got a judge.
Chris Snively in the chat room says, have you seen the news about Country Garden and Evergreen in China recently? Yes, I have. As a matter of fact, Thursday, I'm going to do an extra special report on it. Because holy fuck. Don't get me started on the 6% drop just last month in exports, following an 8% drop the month before and a 12% drop the month before that. And that's compared to last year, which was ass. Okay. Anyways, back to Captain Butthurt, who's wearing the anal condom on the top of his head, just in case.
Who financially supports groups to remove Republicans who support Donald Trump over January 6th.
I see. So she doesn't give a fuck about Republicans that support Donald Trump that weren't involved in January 6th. She's cool with them. Like, she's not giving money in general to just like how to, to primary somebody. It's a hard time I'm having a hard time thinking of a Republican that doesn't support him in the answer. Mitch McConnell, let's just say.
Presiding over this case. You think you're going to get a fair trial? No.
Yeah, pretty fair. Yeah, especially if, the distinction is about whether or not he was a participant or not, because there'll have to be evidence to support that.
Now, hold on.
Are you talking to me, or are there other people in the studio?
A lot that could happen. Maybe the judge will be fair. Maybe the judge will be like, look, I made a donation a while ago. I don't really know a lot about it, but present me your evidence. There's one other big factor at play.
Oh, shit. Here it comes. Well, now, how we do.
The Trump legal team said in order to argue on the 14th Amendment, the individual has to have been convicted of insurrection or rebellion. And she goes, nah.
Yeah, I don't care what they said. That's not true. You don't have to, it doesn't say in the Constitution you have to be convicted of it. You just have to participate in it. Aid and comfort, all that kind of stuff. Like, he literally, just the words he said, you're wonderful, we love you, now go home. Even how he phrased that is aid and comfort to the people who attacked on January 6th. That qualifies, fuckwad. That you do not have to be, nobody thinks that. Wait a minute. This is all going to boil down to, Tim Pool thinks that a judge is going to take Trump's attorneys' legal ideas at face value. Okay.
She said no.
Right, because constitutionally that's true.
Seriously.
Yeah, seriously.
The Trump team argument is you need to prove someone has to be tried and given due process over insurrection, and then you can say.
One moment, please. Let's see. Section 3. This would be Section 3 of the thing. No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress. Oh, sorry, that's Section 2. I'm reading below it. Scroll you up. There you go. Hold on one second. Shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president, or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state, who, having previously taken an oath, which Donald Trump did to protect and serve by the best of my ability, all that shit, as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States, which I think the president qualifies as an officer of the United States, or as a member of any state legislature, or an executive or judicial officer of any state, to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. But Congress may, by a vote of 2/3 of each house, remove such disability. So, guess what, fuckhead? You not only, in this particular instance, don't have to be found guilty of insurrection in a fucking court of law for this to apply. If it's just generally understood that you did, it takes 2/3 of the fucking House or Senate of each House and Senate, both, to remove it. Now, I know, and you know, and we know, and we know, and everybody knows that Tim Pool is not very bright, and he is desperately clinging to his status as someone who was born to be butthurt. But the legal argument from Trump's team is ass and without merit. That's my legal finding, and I have as much legal education as Tom Fitton. So you have to take me seriously. All right. Wait, to play this again? Go for it.
It's definitive. Here we are.
Wait, hold on. What's definitive? Back the fuck up.
Then you can say it's definitive. Here we are.
No, that's not how it works at all. Here's a good idea, dumbass. Instead of holding up whatever the fuck article this is, where's it from? We don't know. Politico? Is that what it is? It's very small type. Instead of putting this up, how's about ya, Tim? How's about it? How's about you put up the section of the 14th Amendment that pertains to whether or not somebody can run for office? Just put it up there. Just say that argument and then show the actual text of the Constitution of America and read that. Or you also have another option, which is to put up this article about whatever the fuck that you picked out because you're knocking low-hanging fruit or something like that, and you just really want to gander at Trump's nunt.
Here we are. PBS.
Here we are. Just the two of us.
Reports arguments in lawsuit using insurrection clause to knock Trump off the presidential ballot begins. I love this. I love how they phrase this.
You mean pretty blandly in like NPR kind of language?
First, you can see that PBS, they don't actually mention the plaintiffs. They don't tell you who's doing it.
Oh my God. The fucking nerve. You mean voters and people who are against Trump running because, I'm going to go out on a limb and say most, if not all, of the people who are involved in it saw Jan 6 on television, at the very least.
It's intentional.
Or maybe they got the book or the graphic novel, perhaps.
They're going to mention, at the start of Monday's hearing in Colorado, the judge rejected a Trump motion that she step aside because she once contributed money to a liberal group. You gotta love the media. Well, it's
a liberal.
It's okay, my friends. We got this tweet from Mike Davis. Mike Davis.
Oh, I love Mike Davis. The only man that make it was Mike Davis.
Has the receipts. He said,
Uh-oh.
This new Denver District Judge Sarah Wallace, a Democrat donor, commits reversible error by refusing to recuse from Trump January 6th case after donating to anti-Trump January 6th PAC.
Anti-Trump January 6th PAC. So is that a PAC that supported what went on January 6th, but is mad because Donald Trump didn't pardon those folks when he said he would or could, and now he says he will, but for most of the people, it'll be after they've served their term, and it involves them having to enter in a culpability or a guilty plea?
That's right. She is actively working with a PAC seeking political goals pertaining to January 6th while presiding over a January 6th case.
No, that's not a January 6th case, actually. It isn't. You don't even have to be, and this will be very difficult. They should apply it across the board. But if you are a member of Congress or a state house that said, that was overheard by someone cheering on what happened on January 6th and was doing a big go get 'em, I'm gonna say, technically speaking, you could be removed from the ballot at whatever job in the government you want to have based on that alone. Because you took an oath and then you supported by giving aid and comfort to them, the comfort being, I got your back, whether you were there or not.
Okay. You thought there's going to be a fair trial? You thought?
Yeah, there is. I'm sure it drives her a little bit crazy because I think she's like, skip to the end.
Thought the legal system was going to play this right. Look, blue states and red states are worlds apart from each other.
Well, yeah, the red states are paid for by the blue states largely.
These people are evil.
Not the people who went up the steps of the Capitol and took a shit in the rotunda and waved the Confederate flag and built a fucking gallows and were screaming "Hang Mike Pence," or they're FaceTiming or Facebook living with their family going, I'm here to put a bullet in Nancy Pelosi's fucking brain. Or the people who fucking danced a jig when her husband was attacked or anything. Those people aren't. Those people are innocent victims. How dare you? Why do you leave them alone? Why?
She should be disbarred.
She should be disbarred
or removed or
I removed or something. I agree.
Impeached. I think it's a judge. I think
cut her up in pieces. I mean, that's not what I meant to say, but I mean it.
It's an impeachment.
It's an impeachment. Give her a peach and tell her to go the fuck home.
What we need to do.
What do we need to do? Tell me, Tim, because I have no idea.
What must be done.
What must be done? Tell me what must be done.
And what must not be done.
What must not be done? Tell me what must be done. Tell me what must be done. No, you know what? Tell me what not to do first, because that's always easier. That requires less effort. I think. I don't know.
First thing that everyone needs to do is you call your reps.
Yeah, call your peeps.
You organize.
That's right. You get together and you put out a plate of cookies and you make some flyers, and then you go to Charlottesville with some tiki torches, and you say, Jews will, no, that's not, oh, not again.
Support people like Scott Pressler.
That's right, Scott, Elvis Presley, I agree. What? Who?
Must be won in the courts.
It must be won in the courts, people, even though it's going to be lost in the courts, and you could lose because it's courts. It's got to be lost and won. Is this a thing to do or not to do? I've lost track.
And you say, but how, Tim, the judges? Yes, because...
But how, Tim, the judges? That's exactly what I was saying.
Republicans need to be filing in Republican states in the same way.
That's right. They need to try to get Joe Biden removed for supporting January 6th in red states. I don't know why Colorado isn't a red state. They have cowboy hats.
There is light at the end of the tunnel.
Thank God. It's a train. Fuck, get off the tracks, everybody. I can smell the smoke.
It is. Do not take the defeatist approach.
No, I'm not defeated. I'm just upset.
What needs to happen is, I don't know, there needs to be some efforts to win.
I don't know about that. That seems like a lot. That seems like a lot. I don't know. Some effort? The fuck? What? You just keep... Tim, you take, and you take, and you take, and then you're like, why don't you give me a little more? Oh my God, fuck you.
Yeah. The last thing anyone needs
is a spike up the butt, because that's because you, Tim Pool of all people, were born to be butthurt.
Violence, riots, and protests.
Yeah, you don't need that. You need, I mean, obviously, Tim has a pinwheel at his house. They spin, and you pick one. I mean, you got to focus. Because if you're rioting, well, I guess technically aren't all riots violent? You know what I mean? Like, has there ever been a Nerf riot?
Seriously.
What
we need now is...
What the world needs now is hurt, but...
organization and lawfare.
That's what we need. We're a little late to the game, and Trump's lawyers suck, and we have no legal argument. But Tim has been staring at Tom Fitton's Rouge very hard lately and making some very difficult life decisions.
Republicans in red states need to be filing the exact same things about Joe Biden.
Yeah, you're going to have a real hard time with the... What's the Aiden cover? I want to hear the case. This is great. Please. All right. Yeah, buddy, he's about to tell us. Lock it up. Here comes the roundhouse.
Seriously.
Now, I know he's serious. You know he's serious. But I do appreciate that he says seriously after seriously like every seriously 5 sentences. Seriously. Like, you can't be super serious enough.
Joe Biden's staff contributed to far-left insurrectionists who firebombed White House grounds and forced President Trump into a bunker.
Yeah, but that would be... They weren't at the direction of Joe Biden, and he actually wasn't in office at the time. And also, he's against it. Also, they were contributing to people who were protesting, who got arrested. They were like getting bail money for people who were part of the protest but got lumped in with the rioters. So the idea is they were trying to make that distinction at the very least.
Kamala Harris can be removed right now. She directly did it.
Yeah, but under the premise that she was helping people get out of jail that were just protesting and not rioting. She wasn't trying to get rioters out. She's trying to get protesters out who Trump was scooping up.
Directly
seriously
solicited money for those waging insurrection.
No. Burning a Target down because you feel bad about what happened to George Floyd is not an insurrection. I don't know if Tim knows this, but we don't vote at Target. We don't even, much as you might like, vote in churches. But I guess you're right. Yeah, Vic in the chat, I think Biden's done. I think this is rock solid. This is ironclad.
Oh, and you might argue it's not insurrection, though, because... Hey.
Hey. It's not, but okay, sorry, go ahead.
Playing that game, it's time
Oh, I'm playing that game.
to play the game where there are
That's right. If you're playing the game, it's time to play the game. Play the game.
Republicans
All right.
at. Here's what Mike says.
Here's what Mike says. Thank God.
On October 18th, 2022, Democrat Governor Jared Polis appointed Democrat donor Sarah Wallace as a Denver district judge. January 10th, 2023. On October 15th,
Dun, dun, dun. That's all I needed. Is there more? Okay.
Judge designee Sarah Wallace donated to the Colorado Turnout Project, a political action committee formed to vote out Republicans who supported Trump on January 6th.
So she just was part of a get out the vote thing. Like, she didn't try to raise money to, like, use lawfare to attack them. She didn't give money to try to use extrajudicial means. She literally gave money to a get out the vote. Oh, fuck. All right. I didn't realize it was this serious. I should have when he said seriously.
This week, Judge Wallace is holding a highly unusual and unconstitutional trial to determine whether to disqualify.
Yeah, you do realize she didn't actually call it. You know, they assign it to a judge. She didn't just like, I'm going to do this. I need just to, okay, need me some plaintiffs. Where am I going to find some plaintiffs?
Trump from the ballot based upon his activities on January 6th.
Well, and to be fair, his also his activities leading up to January 6th and his activities after January 6th. Lots of them. Especially the aid and comfort part, which he's done a shit ton of since.
Judge Wallace previously rejected all of Trump's legal arguments.
Well, to be fair, they were just arguments. They had no basis in law. So calling them legal arguments in and of itself is that's some beanie business, and I don't think that's right.
Including the only way to disqualify for insurrection under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment is to win a federal criminal conviction under the federal insurrection criminal statute Congress passed to execute Section 3, which they did.
Well, all right. Let's see. Hold on. The federal sorry, let me find my federal statute, Section 3 of 14th Amendment. Let's look at it. Let's give it that. Okay. Section 3, there's the disqualification, U.S. Constitution, insurrection, the insurrection bar to office, Section 3 of the 14th CRS reports, 14th Amendment section, that's just the section itself. Amnesty in Section 3, turning over the text, that's it's from a school. Section 3, let's go to enforcement. That'll, okay. What is the word? Where is it? The insurrection bar to office. Okay, look at this CRS report. Congressional Research Service. Here we go. This is the whole, whoops. Get back up here, you jerk. Come on. All right, so updated aftermath events January 6th around the U.S. Capitol. There have been calls for accountability of those who participated as well as for the disqualification clause. No person shall be a senator or Republican. Okay, that's the Section 3. In short, Section 3 disqualification appears to apply to any covered person who has taken an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States and thereafter either engages in enacted in the aftermath of the Civil War. It's specifically designed for the Reconstruction era, but may be applicable to modern times as well. Section 3, for the most part, used only for the short period between its ratification in 1872 and the Amnesty Act, removed the disqualification from most Confederates and their sympathizers, and was enacted by a 2/3 majority of Congress in the accordance of their Reconstruction. Okay, so they're like, they basically had a truce in that. Some argue the Amnesty Act operates retrospectively. Yeah, so that clause in the Constitution is completely meaningless. That's yes, no. Okay, Cawthorn versus Amalfi discussed at legal sidebar. The U.S. Court of Appeals of the Fourth Circuit found that the act does not apply to later insurrections, or treasonous acts. Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. This is in reaching this is Madison Cawthorn. Hold on. Discussed in this legal sidebar. Some argue. We'll look at that in a second. Some argue. It was a failed argument. But okay. Let's see. Court threw out his espionage conviction for judicial bias. Recently, the various groups and organizations have challenged the eligibility of certain. Okay, it doesn't mean they've made it. To whom does it apply? According to the text of Section 3 of the bar against the office of members of Congress, officers of the United States, blah, blah, blah. any civil or military office. It's anybody who's taken an oath already. During the debate on the Section 3, one senator asked why ex-Confederates may be elected president or vice president, and why did you all omit to exclude them? I do not understand them to be excluded from the privilege of holding two highest offices as a gift to the nation. Let me call the senator's attention to the words, or hold any office, civil, military, or under the United States. In January 2020, article of impeachment against President Donald Trump, House said, what activities trigger the bar? Engagement in insurrection, rebellion. Implementation. It is unclear whether Section 3 is self-executing, which is, if it is not, would leave federal and state courts or election authorities without power to determine the eligibility of candidates unless Congress enacts legislation to permit it. Courts have produced mixed results in this. Under January 6th, disqualified from holding current federal. Alternately, any injured private party could ask a judge to issue a writ of quo warranto to prevent the seating of or to oust from office an individual who allegedly engaged in disqualifying activities, although it is unclear who would have standing to bring such a suit, which is like groups of voters or people who were affected directly. Congress could also enact a new legislation. Yeah, that hasn't happened. In contrast, general proclamation legislation akin to the Ku Klux Klan Act. I don't want to mess up their name. That would be rude. There is some debate as to whether Congress can enact a law naming specific individuals subject to disqualification, as it is discussed in another legal sidebar. Some argue that Congress has the right under Section 3, while others counter that the court has described a bill of attainder, a law that legislatively determines guilt and inflicts punishment upon an identifiable individual without provision of the protections of judicial. Okay, the point I'm trying to make is it doesn't make a fucking lick of difference. No. You do not have to be found fucking guilty just because certain scholars have thought of this seriously.
Trump has not been convicted. Today, Judge Wallace.
For the record, though, he will be. Does that? Are you cool to wait or whatever? Because I mean, that would make it exciting.
Admitting to making the anti-Trump January 6th donation, said she didn't remember making it, but despite her donation, she claims she can be fair. But her subjective belief in her.
Well, it was a get out the vote campaign that was trying to unseat specifically probably Mike Lee and a couple others.
Ability to be fair is not the correct legal standard. The standard is an objective one. With the public reasonably, will the public...
Okay, so what's her name in Florida's got to go because she was actually appointed by Donald Trump and she's overseeing his case. So obviously you had a panic attack about the Florida Mar-a-Lago case because that judge was literally, she got her job from the guy that she's trying. But anyways, I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Something about fairness.
Reasonably believe she can give Trump a fair January 6th related bench trial after she donated to an anti-Trump January 6th PAC. The answer is clearly not.
Hold on.
The reversible error.
No, to be clear, if I may, the reference to it being, quote, anti-Trump, when it specifically deals with Republicans that were involved in the January 6th insurrection, again, presumes guilt on Trump's part. But continue. I hate interrupting you when you're being stupid.
But will the Democrat-controlled Colorado appellate courts correct this? No. That's not the game, baby.
Yeah, baby. Come on, son. That's not the game, baby. Come on, sister.
That is not the game.
That ain't the game, baby. Don't hate the player. Don't hate the game. If it's a Democrat, hate the player, not the game. If it's a Republican, hate the game, not the player. That pretty much sums up Tim Pool, I think.
Colorado judge rejects Trump's bid to toss lawsuit aimed at keeping him off 2024 ballot.
Yeah, if you put those words in that order, that is indeed what it says.
I think Trump's argument is sound. Okay.
Based on what?
If you're going
also, where'd that come from? Well, you're just throwing that in there like, I don't know. That sounds like did you see the title of that? Obviously, the system is rigged against him.
Accuse someone of insurrection, then they have to have due process determining they waged insurrection.
No. You can also give aid and comfort to the enemy during an insurrection where you don't even have to participate in it. You can house them. You can offer them comfort. As a matter of fact, all the promises to pardon all the Jan 6ers, that's enough. That's aid and comfort. If I'm president again, once I get in office, I'm going to let you fuckers out. That's enough. He said it. He'll say it today. You don't even have to fucking convict him. He'll say it again.
Suing without having a determination of insurrection. The argument they're making is, no, we'll determine that.
For the record, Trump's dick is supposedly so small that you couldn't determine any kind of erection at all. It's just not possible. I mean, we have the technology, but the Webb telescope is pointed away from the Earth. So,
here and now. Michigan judge declines Trump's request to toss lawsuit to remove him from the ballot. Michigan judge? Oh, yeah. And PBS mentions that Minnesota...
Are these all PBS? Is that his only source?
Is next. A week-long hearing on one lawsuit. Colorado got underway, while on Thursday, oral arguments are scheduled before the Minnesota Supreme Court in an effort to kick the Republican former president off the ballot in that state. Next up, of course, is Michigan.
It was already Michigan. That one was Michigan. It says Michigan right there. Unless you mean next up what you're reading, or it's happening concurrently. I'm just saying they're on. Yeah.
A judge on Wednesday. This is from
last Wednesday, I'm assuming.
Let me get the date here. October 28th.
Yeah, so not this Wednesday, not the November 1st, but the other Wednesday. So I'm just saying I have an issue with next up. Anyways.
This is last week.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks very much.
Rejected former President Donald Trump's request to dismiss a lawsuit that seeks to force him off the 2024 ballot in Michigan. Court of Claims Judge Robert Redford. What a name.
Yeah, I've never heard it before, but he sounds like a handsome guy.
Denied the request and turned down Trump's motion to be party to the lawsuit, citing the court's limited jurisdiction. In the order, Redford wrote that Trump does not fall in the definition of the state or any of its departments or officers. This is just amazing.
Why? Do you think he's still president?
The judge, however, repeated his invitation to allow Trump to respond to the lawsuit in an amicus brief.
Right. Because people are talking about you. They're not suing you directly. That makes absolute sense. That's how this works.
They're trying to remove Trump's name from the ballot and saying,
right,
Trump's not party to the lawsuit.
Yeah, he's not. He doesn't have a say in it in this particular instance, because it's kind of like a group of people are seeking to have a known child molester, let's say. Or how about this? Somebody who partied with a known child molester for 2 decades. I don't know who that would be. You can pick any number of people. And they're wanting him to not be able to live, even though he's not a convicted sex offender. He was seen driving the guy around. They hang out. He fucks around the guy's garage all the time, and then they have parties at his house with that guy over there, and then he's flown to his island a couple times. And there a bunch of people from the school board and other places get together, and they file a lawsuit that this guy should not be able to live within 500 yards of a school because because of who he's associated with, and he can't go, I'm being found guilty of child molestation without it. This is a zoning argument between the city and these people. The city will ultimately make a determination whether or not that's allowed. His guilt or innocence doesn't even play in that part of it. It's about that rule and his qualifications for that rule. And you could say, I don't qualify because of this, this, and this, and that's the amicus brief.
Trump's lawyers argue that it is...
You have to do air quotes when you say Trump's lawyers.
Manifestly inappropriate to remove him from the ballot. And
you know what's manifestly inappropriate? Grabbing women by the pussy. I'm just going to say that without permission. It's manifestly appropriate if they insist.
That neither state officials nor the court should have the authority to take such action. This is very clever on the part of the Democrats. Don't sue.
Oh, you mean that whole actually using what the Constitution says and then letting Trump pick his own lawyers instead of giving him a public defender or something like that, where they might actually do some fucking work?
Trump, and don't give Trump standing to sue back. Sue the state for incorrectly listing him.
Right, that's how that's always works.
And then the state is the party, not Trump. Community activist Robert Davis filed the lawsuit in September.
You get a feeling this is like Tim Pool at some point is going to go, God damn, I'm stupid. I mean, I really don't process information well. And my dad is really bright. Both of my parents are. I'm going to go have a DNA test. And then he finds out he's Glenn Beck's kid. That's what I feel like that's the arc. If this was a Lifetime movie, that's where this is going. Dad, I always knew it.
15th to force Trump off the ballot, arguing the former president is ineligible to run for office again because of Section 314, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, blah, 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 blah.
Davis applauded Redford's decision. It's quite obvious the attorneys have been retained by the former president are unfamiliar with Michigan law. They don't understand the limited jurisdiction of the Court of Claims. They also seem not to understand the meaning and importance of the oath of office established by the Michigan and U.S. constitutions.
Mm-hmm.
Davis filed a lawsuit against...
Yeah, that's the whole portion of this is where he took an oath already and then he violated the oath. So this is really about his violating the oath and whether or not the party that is suing to get him off the ballot can show that he violated the oath. Because it's not his opinion about whether he violated the oath that matters. It's whether they can show it in the court.
Against Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson after she declined his request.
Also, there's hours of this fuckhead, Trump, I mean, not this fuckhead, the other fuckhead, saying that he would pardon the Jan 6ers who were in jail for the insurrection attack. So that in and of itself, like again, aid and comfort, that's all you need.
Remove Trump from the ballot. Benson argues she doesn't have the authority to do so. You see? Where are the Republicans at?
They're busy, telling everybody how much they're going to turn on the new speaker.
This is amazing.
Is it though?
The judge scheduled an emergency hearing on the matter for November 6th in the Michigan Court of Appeals courtroom in Grand Rapids. Davis said it is pretty bizarre that Trump is essentially arguing he is not beholden to the Constitution, which he's not.
Okay, well, shit. I didn't realize he wasn't a U.S. citizen and that he wasn't arguing that he wants to be president of the United States, which is the single highest office that is beholden directly to the Constitution. It is the shepherd of the fucking Constitution. What the fuck you mean he's not?
The arguments that the former...
Again, what the fuck was that? I mean, that drop of everything this dickhead has said so far is fucking amazing.
Trump is essentially arguing he is not beholden to the Constitution, which he's not.
The fuck? What are you talking about? Where did that come from? Of course he is. The whole point of this is that he took an oath and broke it. That's what the fucking 14th Amendment is about. It doesn't even apply to people who didn't take an oath. That's why the language allowed for Confederates to come back in because a lot of the Confederates, they might have been young enough where they joined during the separation of the South, and they might, don't consider themselves, citizens of the United States of America, and they believe they were under the Confederate Constitution, any of that shit. That's why it opened up the gates for people for reunification.
The arguments that the former president's legal counsel. Okay, I'm just going to pause right here.
Yeah, pause, because you're losing everybody, especially with that whole Donald Trump is not a subject to the Constitution.
There's no legal basis for Trump having committed insurrection. Aid
and comfort. You don't have to be an active agent of it. In the same way that Trump says he's not a Russian agent. Nobody thinks he is. He's a Russian asshat. He's not. They're using him. He's a useful idiot, but they're not like he's a super spy.
There is no legal basis. Trump has not actually been indicted or charged.
Yeah, he doesn't have to be. He gave aid and comfort as somebody who's taken an oath to people who attack the congressional duties that are essential to our democracy. And he said he would get them out of jail if he's ever president again. That in and of itself, he would supersede the courts on their behalf. That's aid and comfort.
With insurrection. Okay.
Okay, fine. Fuck it. Taking the beanie off. This is it.
We should have every Republican file the same things against literally insert all Democrats.
Yeah, just do that. Because that's not lawfare.
Every single one.
Look, I know they're not busy governing, but I think some of them they've got wives and mistresses and hidden children and Some of them live on the DL. It's a lot to juggle, and you want to add on top of that putting filing useless lawsuits everywhere. I don't know. I just don't see it happening.
Use the arguments they're making in the exact same way.
Yeah, but first, you have to coax Joe Biden into building a time machine. Wait with me. I mean, he would make a great Doc Brown if he just didn't comb his hair anymore. And then goes back in time and participates in the insurrection. And there's pictures of him nailing the wood together for the gallows. Huh? That would work. And then with Hunter, of course, they're like making it rain while he does it with Chinese yuan. That'd be good. And then use those pictures, and then file that just for shits and giggles. Hold on. Burp.
And then argue what you want is insurrection. That's it.
Yeah, except you're going to have to weigh that against people who actually stormed up the Capitol during the counting of the Electoral College votes and tried to put a stop to it by attacking police officers.
Find a conservative jurisdiction to agree with you. Kamala Harris solicited donations to far-left extremists who were firebombing the White House.
No, that wasn't. She wasn't trying to actually do that. She was just trying to bail out protesters who she believed were innocent and were not participants in the riot. That was what it was for. It wasn't so that they could get another shot at throwing shit at the White House again. A little reminder, this dipshit and all of his friends, with the exception of maybe the one hippie dude that's the nihilist that's in his crowd, thinks that Kamala Harris, that Trump was going to be able to run to the left of Kamala Harris on criminal justice reform. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, it's a stretch, right? Well, of course. She's.
It's not a stretch. Tim. It's not a stretch, buddy. Don't say stretch. It's not a stretch. It's a dumb idea. It's just dumb. Stretch means there's still some tension there between it and the truth. This is completely severed. You've cut the treacle.
Solicited donations to the Minnesota Bail Fund to bail out George Floyd rioters.
Really? Or protesters? You think they made the distinction? Or?
But during the George Floyd riots, many of these people who helped organize this, it's part of a bigger, there you go.
It's part of a bigger, there you go. None of it involved storming state houses and trying to stop our democracy at all. I mean, you could argue that there's an element of states' rights in the fact that if some of these folks attacked police departments or even city halls in places, that those folks would be under state law. I think you might have a case against some of the people in Portland who attacked the federal building there, but I would also argue that a good portion of them didn't know what building they were attacking, just that it looked big and government looking.
My point is this.
It's covered by your beanie.
You can make all the arguments in the world that you want. That's what the left is doing.
No, it seems like they're making one argument that Donald Trump provoked the January 6th attack on purpose over a series of days, set his supporters loose on it, took down the magnetometer so that the metal detectors so that people with guns wouldn't be detected, told them to walk down there peacefully and patriotically, which is his equivalent of don't fire until you see the whites of their eyes, and said you're going to have to fight or we're not going to have a country left if Mike Pence doesn't do the right thing. And then about the time they get there, he's tweeting Mike Pence didn't have the guts to do the right thing. That would be that was the process. It's very different than a bunch of people, half of them were marching and half of them broke off and set fire to a Target. And some of the people who were just marching got arrested with the people who burned the Target. And therefore they set up a bail fund to get people out who were just protesting. And there was some overlap between those two groups.
The right should make the same arguments. Joe Biden's never been convicted of insurrection, neither has Trump. So just say it in court.
Yeah, but also Joe Biden has never promised to pardon people who attacked the Capitol.
Force Joe Biden to respond. Now,
yeah. What do you want him to do? Laugh into a microphone on his way to the helicopter? Seriously, because that will be the response.
reality is I think they want Joe Biden off the ballot anyway. So the best
Yeah, keep telling yourself that, dummy.
thing for Donald Trump is to keep Biden on the ballot, in which case I can understand why they're not filing.
Yeah, that's why.
They want Joe Biden on the ballot. Okay. So then start filing against Gavin Newsom. This is the challenge, right?
No, I don't know what the fuck. I'm bored. That's Tim Pool, the man who was born to be butthurt. Seriously, guys. He's serious. He's seriously saying seriously. He was born. Everything that happens crawls up his ass and lays an egg. Apparently, it's kind of cute. But again, I look. I don't know how to. I can't relate to the guy. I just can't. I mean, I've had long hair. I've had short hair. I've had buzzed sides. I've a ponytail. I do elf hair. I'm all over the map. I have yet to wear a hat on the show. I might even start, but none of that would affect my ability to do my show. But the day Tim Pool takes his beanie off, show's over.